Well, I didn't see that twist coming, albeit it's my fault for not watching the next time on, but I don't want to watch those anymore, as I said, so I was a little surprised by that. Now, part of me didn't like it because it's them changing the format of the game, and I'm just not a fan of that, but then I realized, well, wait a minute though. Everyone is going to tribal council during a time in the game where everyone would be forced to go to a tribal anyway. Everyone has an equal shot of winning immunity, and they can still be saved. There's still a big enough group of people that there's a decent amount of variables, and it was a purely random draw, even though once again, Navini still I know is Malolo. What the hell? Yeah, so... And also, this means that, hopefully, the penultimate episode doesn't have 2 boot-offs. Although, of course, the problem with that is, if the penultimate episode doesn't have 2 boots, that means the finale is going to have 3, because there's only 2 more episodes that I haven't talked about before the finale, and those 8 people left. Do the math, yeah. So that's a little annoying, but they finally got rid of the spare person, although they could have just been getting rid of people a little faster, You don't have to keep spacing it out 3 days all the time now. I know why they do it, but... Jeff even brings this up in the recap. If we have 20 people, we have to get rid of 2 people in 1 episode. Well, if you would just have immunity challenges faster, you wouldn't have that problem. Survivor South Africa was able to figure that out, and they didn't even have to do double tribal council the last time they did it. So, I'm glad that you don't do double tribal councils anymore, because I never really liked forcing both tribes to go to tribal council with only an individual immunity being offered, and sometimes they didn't even do that. I could have sworn there was 1 or 2 times they didn't offer individual immunity, yeah, so, yeah. Okay, moving on for that bit. Nice challenge, I gotta admit. I can totally see them doing this again. Then the dynamics of the tribes after the challenge. Well, coincidentally, all the big game people seem to be on the orange team, whereas the fluff, most of it at least, was on the purple tribe. And on that purple tribe, the big question is, what is Donovan going to do with his idol? And Jenna was kind of campaigning to have him potentially played for her, because Chelsea or Sebastian blatantly tells her, yeah, we're voting you out. But there was just something about the way that she was talking to him that didn't sit right with me, and as it turns out, they never really were that close, even though I might have seen one moment with them together, or maybe I'm thinking of Libby. It's just too tough, because there's so many people, and tons of them don't get confessionals. People keep joking. Sebastian, you keep forgetting who he is. Jenna, you keep forgetting. Chelsea, when did she last get a confessional? When? She does good at these challenges, and there's nothing. Yeah. It's crazy. See. Right, but I was hoping that Jenna would go, because I'm number one, that gets rid of a Malolo member, but it also gets rid of someone that we don't really care about that much. Sorry, Jenna fans, but there was really not that much to her, But of course, that's because of so many people and so little time, especially in these days, yeah. The bigger question was what was going to happen on the orange group, because Kellen was freaking out about Michael's bluff, and it makes sense. It does. But then just the way that she handles it is kind of bad. Now, part of that is because, we know more than they know, but there was just something in her, just the way that she did it, I just felt like that could have been smoother. And then, Laurel and Wendell's talk. Yeah, it kind of made sense, but there was just something in my mind going, okay, yeah, it seems like you're doing it, but it seems like Wendell, for whatever reason, is not crossing over that last step to making a decision one way or the other. Now, that's for the edit purposes, but it was like, if you were going to truly get rid of Kellen, you probably would have done one more step than that. And then the whole time I'm looking at Michael going, why aren't you trying to use one of the girls as leverage, you know? Now, I think in his exit interview, he did mention that he tried a little bit of that. That's why he ended up voting for Wendell, which didn't make any sense at all, if you ask me. Especially since if he had actually voted for Laurel, he would have stayed. But of course, he didn't know that Kellen had the extra vote to, like, it didn't seem like that many people even put it together that there was a 6th vote. Yeah. And I really wish that Jeff in his Q&A with Dalton Ross had provided a little more detail about how that other tiebreaker, how the tiebreaker worked, because obviously since only Michael and Laurel were involved in the tie, that means that there's only 3 people voting, but does Kellen still have the extra vote? And then what would have happened had it been 2-2-2 with Kellen having the last 2 votes? Is it just Michael, is it just Dominic and Wendell voting? Or does Kellen just have 1 vote nullified? Huh? I mean, like, they definitely had to have thought of this. I just wish that someone would explain that. But maybe it's just to keep the suspense, even though there's really no harm in explaining this to anybody. It's not like when Jeff refused to explain what happens if there's a final 3 and a jury of 9 and you get free. But it seems like at least when there's 20 people, you always have a jury of 10 now, so that eliminates that possibility of it being a three-way tie, because it's just statistically impossible. Right. Okay, so we get all that crazy dynamic, and for those of you who didn't listen to Michael's exit interview, even though he was trying to listen to Dom and Wendell, he actually couldn't make out anything, which means they were doing a really good job of hushing it up. I'm impressed, and like production didn't even put in subtitles, so I wonder if they're going to tell us that later, or if they just simply couldn't get anything. But my thinking is that they couldn't get any of that despite the fact that everyone is mic'd, or at least I'm pretty sure that they're mic'd. Then Jeff would have said something. Right. So the eventual boots, I'm not too picky about it. Oh, I'm a little sad to see Michael go, but I knew that couldn't go on for forever. He didn't seem to be getting any better position, and like with a decent amount of people in Big Brother, one tiny shake-up, and all of a sudden, bing, his number is up. And then Jenna, well, she was fluff. No loss there, so now Navini is up 6-2, but if you look at the Malolo members that are left, Donovan and Laurel, those are the Malolo members that most helped Navini. So, and we know that Donovan is not going to win this game. No way. So, yeah, so as Rob Sesternino pointed out, that in his Know-It-Alls bit with David from Millennials vs. Gen X, Malolo, you can pretty much say goodbye to them at this point. Now it's really just that huge Navini alliance. They don't really have anyone to get rid of. Oh, sure, they can try and get rid of Donovan, but there's no rush to get rid of him. Like, that guy is not going to win a challenge. At least I don't think he will. So, Right. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the family visit shakes everything up. I know about this because everyone was talking about it. There's no way I could have missed it, but the family visit happens for almost every season. The only times they didn't truly do a family visit in any way, shape, or form was a Samoa. There's no explanation for that whatsoever. Fiji, there is an explanation, yeah. Later.